Hey, welcome to my first video ever made about being a flight attendant. I've had a few people text me and ask me how to become one, and also have some common questions like what's reserve, how long does it last, what is your pay, what are your routes, where do you fly, how do you know where you fly, what are the bases, do you like your job? There's a lot of questions that people have. So I decided to make a video about it, and I also like to watch these videos before I began, so watch other ones to make you informed. There's a lot of information that you may not know that you need to know. Anyways, so let's get into my first video. Okay, bye. And I might lose some, but with you I won. I have bad days, you do too, and I don't like wearing my shoes, but my life couldn't get better riding with my favorite. There is 7 main steps that you're going to go through for the application process. 1, you look up who's hiring. 2, you do research on the company, and that can include the reviews, the benefits, the reserve time. And then 3, you apply online, and then you take the customer service questionnaire. That's what I did. I don't know if every airline does this. That's just what mine did. And then you wait for the email to see if you pass that process. Once that's done, you do the video interview, which was just simulated questions on a screen. There was no real person face to face. And I didn't know what those questions would be beforehand. They just appeared. I think they just wanted to see what you thought on the spot. Also, if your answers were reasonable. After that, number 5, you have the phone interview with a person. They ask you questions, you answer them to the best of your ability. If you then pass that, then you make it to the in-person interview, which is step 6, and you get flown down. If you pass the in-person interview, you're gonna go through the training process, which the length is gonna vary depending on which airline you go to, which is something that you should look at when you research on the company as well. That's gonna play a factor for you. Those are really the 7 main steps, but if you wanna get a little more in depth into that, then keep watching, because that's what I had to do. If I wouldn't have done that, I would not have made it through the process. The interview, a lot of people were surprised at how difficult it was, what they're asking you. I don't think a lot of people really knew what to expect. I prepared for like 2 months, and I'm so thankful I did, because I would have gone into it thinking it was just like another customer service job. It's definitely different than that. So to go a little bit more in depth, when you look up who's hiring, literally all you do is just search up on your computer, your phone, airlines hiring. I noticed that there were a lot of fake ones hiring, like they're real airlines, but they actually weren't hiring, and I don't even know what that's about. So it's definitely important to actually make sure they're hiring. Then you do research on the company. This is definitely the big thing that I'm thankful I did. How I handled it was perfect for my position, but a lot of people did not do this at all. The airline I'm at now, I'm glad I chose this airline because I did research on this. And so it's definitely something that everybody wishes they did if they didn't do, and are thankful if they did. The reason you're going to do this is because obviously every airline is going to offer different benefits. They fly different routes too, so that means you're going to be flying those routes, and you get the layovers there. Especially something big to pay attention to is for first years. Seniority, like any job, is huge for flight attendants, especially because reserve time. I'll explain reserve a little bit for those of you who don't know. Reserve is basically when you're on call with the airline, so they can call you when you're sitting at home or during lunch, whatever your hours are going to be. There's B and A. Reserve time can last from up to 3 years to 1 month. It really just depends on the airline you choose, and also that stuff you're going to only understand by doing the research online and looking at each individual airline that you choose. I checked Reddit. Reddit was amazing because there's so many reviews from people online that have either made it into the interview process and passed, chose not to go with the airline, or chose to, made it through training, their thoughts on training, they explain some of it. If they didn't pass the interview, those are important too, because they actually say quite a bit of things that like they wish they would have done, or things that they didn't like about the airline. Once you get the information about the airline from the people that didn't make it, you're gonna get like best, most honest opinion. You're gonna get the dirt, because if they made it through the airline, they're not gonna talk trash about their airline. I mean, hello, that's now their job. They want to keep it. So yeah, definitely go on Reddit. And they also explain like some of the questions that you'll get in the interview. They explain what the interview process was like. In mine, we had cards that you would flip over, and you had to think on the spot, and there was like 6 different people, all with different questions, and it was timed. It was definitely something I'm glad I knew was happening, because no one else knew.
and I think it might have saved me in the interview and got me the job. I mentioned that I wanted this airline, I mentioned why, and I did the research on it, I explained what I learned, and I then got the job. Something also that you want to pay attention to is just things like what did they think about their whole process? What's the coworker dynamic like? Do you get to see the same people on your flights? You never see them again after one flight. And if you're going to be moving to a new place, maybe that's important to you, that you have that family dynamic. What do they say about management? That's important because that plays a big role in any job. Pay. I think that's self-explanatory. Reserve time, already kind of said some stuff about that. Hours flown, fly time, yeah, this is a big one, and it's a common misconception. The airline I'm at, while I'm a reserve, I notice I don't get too many flying hours. When I do get a flight, I love it. I get a lot of layovers, which is something you should pay attention to as well. Each airline offers different layover times. So I can stay up to 2 days or 1 day in a different state. Some other airlines, you barely get layovers. The layovers, what's so good about that is they pay for your hotel, they pay for your food sometimes. You know, so definitely look at that. Because I don't get called out a lot, I have the option to do school, I have the option to do something else. Other airlines, if you're a reservee, you're gonna be like flying every single hour, barely getting rest, really feeling overworked. Or maybe you want that. Maybe you want to make more money. Maybe you want to fly more, get more experience. Interview questions and the process. I already explained it a little bit. Definitely look at those interview questions. They're going to probably surprise you, try to make you think on the spot. If you're someone like me, when it comes to interviews, you get anxiety and it takes more out of you to do that. So having a little bit of preparation makes you feel like you're more prepared. And when you feel like you're more prepared, you do better. You feel more confident. Also look at the bases because that's gonna be where you are potentially gonna be living or moving to. Also where you're gonna be flying to. So also you're gonna wanna get a job in customer service. This is kind of random. Even if it's just for a few months. I've been flying with people that have even applied to other airlines when they're at mine, and they've kind of explained that people that were in the interview process with them were from other airlines previously. All they talked about in their interview from their previous job was being a flight attendant at their airline. But the other airlines don't really they don't want you to talk about it too much because they know it says on your resume that you were at an airline, you know how to be a flight attendant, but each airline has different things that they do. It's not the same. They have different service. They have different things they do for safety. Talk about how you were a server, how you handled a bad situation. It kind of piques your interest more because they already know you're a flight attendant. They can see that in your resume. Maybe mention it once or twice, but mention all of the experience you have because that's going to pique their interest. The people that mentioned that their other jobs in customer service were the ones that got the jobs, and they have told me this. And so pay attention to that too. If you have never worked in an airline, I didn't either, and I'm at one now because I just played up on the fact that I was a server for many years and also did some other jobs, but I got the job and I had never been a flight attendant before. So yeah, definitely just be confident and do your research. Video interview. At the video interview, I was actually at my work. It only took like 5 minutes. It was fine and it went well. It's just thinking on the spot. One thing that they asked me was, when was a time you had a bad customer experience and how did you handle it? So I mentioned that I brought someone the wrong drink and then I apologized and said we were out of the other drink, but would you like something else? They also asked me, what does the word integrity, yes, this was one they mentioned like 3 times. They asked me what integrity meant to me. Also in the in-person interview and online and in the video. They mentioned that one a lot. So I gave them my explanation. I think I said, integrity means to me doing the right thing when no one's around and when people are around. It gave me like 2 minutes to explain, so I really just went in depth on what that meant. So then phone interview with person, that was pretty chill, but didn't last too long either. I think it's just to get a feel, so just be bubbly, be yourself. Oh, another thing, when you're doing the interview, make sure you're smiling, make sure you're acting like you are talking to a person like this, because they want to see that how you'll be representing their airline. Even if something takes you by surprise, I know that really freaked me out. They're gonna do that. Just smile, take a breath, look to the side, and then answer. It gives you a little minute to think, as long as you look like you're calm. They want someone who's outgoing. They want someone who can communicate well and represent their airline in a good light. I think that if you're applying to be a flight attendant, you probably already have those qualities, right? In-person interview, you get flown down for that. That's number 6. There was over 600 people at my interview, which I was not expecting. Well, I got flown to where I am now, I met someone at the hotel and I could just tell that they were there for the interview. They were probably like knees. They were wearing like a business suit and I was like, this girl's totally, you know, gonna be applying for the airline. That my camera died, but all I was trying to say was when you go to the in-person interview, the interviewers are watching you before the interview starts. So there was like probably 300 people there just sitting down. Some of them were talking and conversing with each other. Some people weren't. So I made it a point to have a conversation with those around me. One, it just kind of let the nerves out, but two, they watch you. I only know this because I watch videos. They watch you to see if you are someone who's social, someone who likes to conversate with people. That's who they want to hire. You will automatically get points for doing that. Also, when they ask you if you want a bathroom break, it's fine if you do. Go ahead, use the bathroom, but when you get back, talk to people because they're watching you then too. That was all I was gonna say, but thank you for watching. This is my first video. I'll be making another video about a similar topic about flight attendant stuff. So go ahead and follow me if you are interested in learning more about the airline life. I'll probably do like a crash pad tour, or there's a lot of people from different airlines in my crash pad. I'm thinking about doing a Q&A with each of the different airlines just to get a perspective of how different it is depending on where you go. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.